Today we're talking about extinction bursts. What is an extinction burst?
An extinction burst is basically when something's about to go out. It kind of has like this one last hurrah and then fizzles out.
Yeah, so what we're talking about essentially is this patriarchal, toxic masculinity, super racist way of governing. Mentality in which you used to get rewarded for
the good old boys club.
Talking this way, behaving this way, joking about these things. And now getting like ostracized for it.
Right.
Quote unquote, canceled, modern lingo, right?
Yeah.
So feeling so upset about that happening, that sort of like I used to follow by these rules and now you've changed the rules kind of vibe. That what happens is you act up and act up and act up until you realize. So what was the example? It was actually a TikTok that this came from that was like, that had gone viral. But the example that he gave was if you're trying to buy something and you use your credit card and it gets declined and you keep trying to swipe it and you're getting angry and it's not working, and you realize, okay, I'm going to have to just pay with cash.
Yeah.
So essentially, extinction burst is the idea that you can say racist, misogynistic things, but now you're getting pushback and keep getting pushback until you get upset, and then you stop doing that and you have to pivot and you just stop talking about that kind of stuff altogether and you become more involved, essentially.
Yes. I was trying to find it so we can give that TikToker credit.
From a national level, it would be, it's on my Instagram page. It is, the TikTok is at OHH. Oh, that's rich. Oh, that's rich. OHHTHATSRICH is the TikTok. And from a national level, it's going to take longer, right? So the example that he gave was that Obama's election was the event. And then Trump getting elected, all of these policies getting now put into slide back, this like fascist craziness, being like more open, are all like the continued trying to swipe the credit card. And then eventually it's not going to work anymore. It's going to go out of style so badly that it's going to be just like not part of the vernacular eventually. Like it's not part of the culture anymore.
Yeah.
So this is why there's such like a large burst of it right now, because they're trying to hold it up. But they know it's inevitable that this way of thinking is going to be archaic.
Right.
And considered like
so
completely
sorry if you guys
bad.
can hear that in the background.
So what do you think? Do you think does that track on what you...
I feel like it does, because when Trump won his first election, not by the popular vote, but by the Electoral College, I feel like that makes such a big difference, because you feel...
No, it does, but the Electoral College was supposed to keep people like him out of office, so it just didn't work the way it was. It was literally meant to like keep a buffoon out of office that we voted in popularly through people that didn't know any better. And so the Electoral College was supposed to be like, we're going to not let you pick this candidate
so it's
because
not a popularity contest.
But it ended up, they sort of like strategically learned the system and exploited it. And now we're here we are.
But I actually was finishing up my Bachelor's of Science in Psychology during COVID. So it was during the Trump administration. And this was a really big topic that a lot of our classes were talking about how this win was a retaliation of having the first Black president.
And not only that he was Black, but that he was good.
He was good.
I think it was that he was such a good president that he was a better president than like you would even, like a lot of white presidents had been. You know, no infidelity, no scandal, right? Everything was balanced. The budget was good. We had a great economy. The world looked at us like we actually moved up in the level of respect, I would say, and like kind of integrity of like what we actually say who we are, and we actually like execute who we are. Like what we say and what we do was the closest it had been under Obama.
Yeah.
With also the hope of understanding that like we had crossed.
Yeah.
Or turned a corner, crossed a street,
we
whatever
went like
thing.
8 blocks back.
But then
once Trump got in office.
But the weird thing about that was like we had seen that behavior before. It's like the devil you know. There was that vibe.
Yeah.
And there's something about feeling like that's the vote. That's what the vote was. It's like, I'm voting for the devil I know instead of the devil I don't. Because maybe if you don't look like, if you don't have like a lot of experience with minorities, you may feel super scared if it's going to be a run of only diverse candidates after that.
Yeah, I think that's what people are scared of.
And you're not going to be
represented.
You're going to be treated the way that you had been treating people. Okay? And that scared them. And now they went, 10 toes down and said, we're holding this line. We know it's inevitable, it's going to break. We're going to hold it as long as we can. And, there's also at the same time, you have moments like when you have like a mayor in San Francisco, for instance, who's a person of color, who's also a woman, who ends up being corrupt. Right?
Yeah.
You have like these moments where we give people chances. You have Mayor of LA under like, I think she tried to do a lot of good in some ways, but then it like backfired because there's a lot of there's it's hard. It's hard out there. And I don't know what people had done to also obstruct their ability to lead, right? Like the way that they obstructed President Obama. I don't know. We don't know about their governments. Like, were there people obstructing their ability to govern as well? And that was also limiting why they were able to govern successfully. So you have that, which then, inherently, if you're, I'm an anti-racist, which means, so like for people that don't know, it's basically the understanding that everybody essentially is racist because the system is racist. If we know who is on top and who is on bottom, and we understand how this works sometimes, that means we have been programmed by the system, and therefore we're inherently upholding the system, putting, accidentally contributing to the system. But instead of trying to tiptoe around it, I'm like, no, like what you are able to do when you're anti-racist is you can say,
actively deconstruct.
You can say things the wrong way and then go, oh, my bad. And then recognize that instead of feeling like I said the wrong thing and now my life is over. My professional life is over. It's not like that. It's like, oh, dude, did I just say my bad? Like, tell me what am I supposed to say about that? Oh, okay. Thank you for the correction. Now I know how to proceed in the future, as opposed to like, I'm not allowed to say anything ever. There's like, because I don't want to be like that fear of being unable to even like express yourself,
right?
To use your First Amendment right, to do any of that. That's part of the reason why perhaps if there wasn't anomalies in the actual electoral process, if there wasn't actually other things, that maybe the reason is like you could feel that there was a lack of the First Amendment freedom from the Democratic Party, which maybe made people that were on the fence feel like if I can't even talk about these things, then
well, I did have friends. I did have friends and family who were like, "We can't talk about." I'm like, "What do you need to say?" Like I would ask them, like in this, like this is a safe place. I'm not gonna tell anybody that you're saying this. I'm not gonna record you. First of all, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not even active on social media, so I'm not gonna record a family member or friend and then put it on social media. Yeah. But I'm like, it's a safe place. What do you feel like you need to say that you can't say? Let's be on. Like, just let's be frank. What is it? Like, is it something racist? Is it something homophobic? What is it? And it's always like, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's just like, I'm like, this is a literal invisible barrier that you have given yourself because you have the vocabulary to say what you want to say. It's just you want to use the worst words to say it.
Yeah.
And it's an invisible barrier. So instead of just going around the invisible barrier and saying what you like want to say, it's just you want to be able to say the N word or the F word.
This is a great example. There was one time I was in a taxi cab coming from I was flying to Las Vegas, went to Las Vegas, McCarran Airport, got picked up. I think it was a taxi. I remember seeing a meter. And the guy was, I think he was like 30. He was like young, black, totally like, like MTV generation kind of vibe, like young driver. And we had gotten to a conversation somehow we got a conversation about race. I don't remember how I got into it, but I remember him saying, what if I told you that you could use the N-word? If I'm giving you the pass to use it, what would you say? And I'd say, oh my God, I would say, thank you so much for like trusting me and saying that and giving me permission to use that in your presence. I'm not going to use it because I just don't want to use it. But I appreciate that you are giving me the pass because you feel comfortable with me. Like I'm honored by that. But if that's like, I don't really need to use it because I don't want to.
Yeah.
So that's just how I feel. I just don't want to. I just don't want to use it. Like I find like it's a word that is so mean. It has so much like, why would I want to use it? Like I don't need to. And I have no interest in using it.
That's a word that they have created to, like they've regained their power by using it as like
But his response was so interesting too. He was surprised.
What did he say? What did he say?
He was surprised.
Was he like, what?
oh,
that? Because I feel
I had never heard that before. And I
That's
was like,
not-
no, like I don't want to use it, but thank
Yeah.
you. But I don't. I mean, I literally, I can't even tell you how much I appreciate the gesture to say that I can. I understand the weight of that. Thank you so much. But I really don't want to use it. Like I'm good.
Also,
And he
yeah,
had not
I
expected that. He expected
feel
me to like
weird.
use it, I guess, or he
Right?
expected. I don't know
would
what he
feel
expected.
weird.
Not that.
Yeah. Because I'm like, that's not the Asian American trauma. Like, for
Like
us
I don't use it when I
to-
sing songs. I guess people like use it in their privacy of their car when they. I don't ever use it. I don't say it in the song. I don't need to. Like I don't. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you know, the hardest part is I listen to rap music around my kids, and I have to explain to them why they cannot use it. And I've already explained the historical context. I'm like that word right there, you can't use it. And I've explained why and all these things. Like they already know. But I think other people would probably be like, why are you like? But it's
that's like
everywhere.
The lead singer at Green Day, actually, just at Coachella.
Oh, I don't know anything about this.
Okay, so he changed the lyrics and he said, I am faggot America. And everyone was like, how dare you say that? But unless you know, he's openly bisexual.
Oh.
And so it was like,
well, that's okay. Thank you.
yeah, that's what I mean by that word, not
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
because I normally don't even say that word.
Yeah.
But people were like, how can he say that? How can he say that? Wow, 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 wow. And it's like, one, he's openly bisexual. But two, that song is like a form of art making a statement, like a political stance
Yeah.
about being in that community in America. Because he's like, I am not maggot America. I am, you know. Yeah, in the lyrics, because he changed the lyrics. I can't remember the song. I should be able to.
Is it American Idiot?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to that Broadway show.
Which was, yeah, really,
It was good.
yeah, it's good.
It's one of those things, though. It's like context is everything.
Yeah.
If you didn't know he was bisexual, that'd be super offensive, right?
Because that's
so,
why
like
everyone on the internet is like, what the hell? Why
But
is
that's
he
the thing
saying
about
that?
being
And it's just like,
gay. You can't tell necessarily the way that you can tell when somebody's black,
yeah,
right? Or you can tell when somebody's Asian. Like
Yeah.
you can't tell. So like their ownership of the word that they're using is
it's a little
much more
harder.
apparent.
Yeah.
It's there's no
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, it's harder.
You know,
for
that reminds me
stuff
of
like
like when you're in New York City on a subway and there's people speaking Mandarin, and there's a word in Mandarin that's very common, like as common as the in English, that sounds like the N word.
Yes.
And Asian people, Chinese people get yelled at, and they don't even know why they're getting yelled at all the time. And like, I just need
Yes.
people to understand, like sometimes like our world is not the only
Oh, the only world.
right? So
Our
like,
country's not
don't
the only
assume
country, yeah.
somebody, especially if like they're not like, if they're
They're
clearly
so-
speaking another language, like just assume they're
There
not
is-
saying that thing. That
You know
they
who
make.
BTS is?
Yes.
Okay, so there is that word in their song. Well, it's Korean, it's not Mandarin, but they do have a word that's very similar, and it's in their lyrics because
It got
some of their
confusing for
lyrics.
people?
And people are like, why are they saying that word? And it's like, whoa, you got to take a step back because that's their language. They're not going to know the entire history and the complexities of that word for America.
Yeah.
They're just going to know it for Korea, and it stands for it's like a simple basic word.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have all of that
Yeah.
context.
It's hard too because like when I lived in Japan, I really had a more of an understanding of like racism and race is different in different countries, and you don't know that until you're an American. That like not
And you
just
look at it.
traveled, not like a visit. 2-week visit is not going to do it. Okay, you need
gotta
to
live.
live there. Yeah, if you live there and you start to realize like, oh, interesting. Like one time, I kind of like accidentally imposed our idea of what like being an American was. It was like free tickets to this awesome heritage site, and they had to be Americans only. We're gonna get the free tickets. So then there are some Americans that have Japanese names because they're married to the American, and then those women wouldn't get the ticket.
Oh, that's
And they
messed
go, well, you're
up.
not. And I said, why can't they get the ticket? And they go, well, they're clearly not American. How do I go back and tell these women they said you're not American?
Like, I'm
It's
sorry.
like your
kids,
first generation.
just-
Then I had to go down to the breakdown. Like, well, were they married to them? Are they first generation? Or like, I literally broke it down so much. I had to explain the culture. The person that I was working with, who's an English student of mine, that I was teaching English at like a community. The Japanese lifestyle was very interesting. They had community centers. She was also head of like tourism for this like awesome area. She never came back to a class after that because whatever I did was so confrontational for Japanese culture, which I did not know. Thinking I was just imparting to her like American culture of like race, being a citizen, what it means to be an American citizen. I can't tell. You know how like
Yeah.
once you become an American, you can't tell someone you're not American. How am I going to tell an Asian person that she's not American? Do you see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
through this thing, but it was through a totally different lens.
Yeah.
And I offended my host nation contact.
Defending.
Because I didn't even know how to,
Yeah.
and then she didn't even show up again until I left 3 years later. And it
Oh,
was for the
damn. She
goodbye
waited.
party. Yeah.
She waited for you
Yeah.
to go.
Like it was like, I felt so bad. And I even explained the situation one time in an English class.
She said that American
And
bitch
they were
is
like
out the
nodding.
door.
They were like nodding. Yeah, it was a big, I was like, yeah, there was a misunderstanding that we had where I was trying to explain. And I think she may have took him.
And they probably looked at you like,
yep, that's exactly
yeah,
what
you
happened.
fucked up. You,
I was like, because in
Kathy.
Japan, you don't confront. Mm-hmm. And I should
You
have,
don't
yeah,
get a
I was
ticket.
advocating
See
for
ya.
like 300 tickets. Like literally, it was like a huge fireworks festival at a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was a huge thing.
I mean, I
handed
get
out
what you're
300
saying
tickets.
because you feel like they were going to be left out for the wrong reason.
How do I,
Just
how do I
because they
tell?
have a Japanese name.
Yeah, because then I had friends that were Japanese American 10 generations or whatever. And it was like their last name was Japanese, but their first name was American. And then, okay, if their first name's American, I'll give them the ticket. But if their last name's Japanese and the first name's Japanese, I'm not going to give them a ticket because I'm assuming they're Japanese. It was the whole thing. And you can understand me being Vietnamese. I was like, how am I going to tell these people they're not Asian or American enough? Like,
You're
what
like,
am I doing?
hey, guess what?
This is like a whole international like conflict I'm about to start. I was like, I do not need an incident over all this. You know, I'm trying to make peace here, not
What
war.
you're supposed to do is just take the ticket, say thank you, and go in.
Just go and hand them out and shut up.
Just shut up.
Oh, I think they were all
Oh,
assigned. That
damn.
was like names assigned on the list, and like you had to like approve them.
Oh, damn.
Because these are tickets that like when they pay for them, they're like $600, $300 a ticket, and we were getting them for free. Yeah, it was VIP section, the main fireworks event for Miyajimaguchi, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The event of the year.
Just for
Everybody's
being
dressing in
American?
it was because of my relationship with her, and if they can bring Americans to like the tourist stuff in Japan, anytime you have like foreign like Americans, it makes it look like better.
I wonder if it's
Same
like
with
that.
China.
I wonder
Same with
if it's-
Vietnam, and it looks better.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like that now with our current administration and our political climate.
Yeah,
if they're-
So when we were there, we were under the Bush administration, and there were things I didn't necessarily agree with. But I would look back at that now and like that's like nothing, like nothing.
You're like,
right?
oh.
But we're not allowed to say anything. When you're connected, when you're active military, you're not allowed to say anything negative about your government to anybody, especially not to your host nation's like people. So you're kind of handicapped, right? You
You're
don't
like,
get to
this
say,
idiot, am I right?
yeah, you
can't
cannot say that. That's considered a crime. So that's why you'll never hear anybody in the military speaking up against Trump. And if they do, that's like a big deal that they're doing, especially if it's like a retired general who's not active and he's doing that's like he's breaking his lifelong vocational protocol because this guy is so bad. Like that's how a big deal it is. Like you're not allowed to. It's like you're ingrained. It's a felony. Like it's ingrained into you not to do that. So if you've served
I
for
would
20,
be
30 years,
so
right? It'd be
bad
weird
at
to like
that.
speak. It'd be bad to speak up. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, so some of them that do now because they're retired and they can, it's so not characteristic of a military general to speak against any commander in chief.
But then you either
so
have
know
to
it's
think-
bad if
yeah.
they have to, like it's breaking their heart to have to break this protocol. It is not in their nature to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's got to be bad. Like
Well, yeah, because
beyond.
they're trying to uphold the Constitution, and
Yeah.
right now that's not
that's
being
that's
upheld
the
by
oath. Yeah, they swear to
Because
defend
I-
the Constitution from enemies, foreign
and domestic.
domestic.
Yeah. So then, at like what point is it?
Oh, he
know
totally
what I
fits
mean.
within. No, he is completely.
But
in
at what
violation
point
of all
in
the
the
things.
military are you like, okay, this isn't all okay. This has actually become a violation of the Constitution that I'm supposed to be upholding.
I think technically not because the Supreme Court was 9-0, and then it's like that. But the thing is, the commander in chief is the president, so they serve
The commander in chief.
under him, and technically also the U.S. Marshals, who are the ones that would execute the arrest for the Supreme Court, also technically serve at the pleasure of the executive branch.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit complicated.
It's a little muddy.
Okay, so how do we feel about sundown towns? Wait, but I don't think this extinction burst is gonna like stop the sundown towns because you said they were going on the whole time.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know we still had them.
No. You get into a rural enough area. So the reason we're talking about this is because there was a TikTok or an Instagram reel that you had shared with me about a black man.
He was a Navy,
An active Navy
guy going to a deployment. So he was driving his car to his girlfriend's house so she could
Yeah.
like store for him
Yeah.
while he's gone.
which was so sweet of her. And
then he'd
he had
drive through.
stopped through Xenia, Ohio, my home state, and some guy started some shit in the gas station saying they let people like you still serve in the military, meaning a person of color, and super uncalled for, super racist. Are we surprised though?
I was surprised. I did not
In
know that they had those.
Ohio,
I don't know anything about that.
I mean, could we say it's a sundown town or could we just say it's a racist?
I mean, I didn't know
place?
that Ohio was like Texas in that sense. Like, I always thought Ohio was like Washington State. Way more progressive. I was thinking because everybody I met from Ohio was so political, I was thinking, not necessarily progressive, but I just didn't think you guys were like a racist state. It just didn't occur to me that you were racist like that. Did not know that.
We have people that drive around with Confederate flags on their pickup trucks, where my husband is from. And we didn't even serve on the Confederate side of the Civil War, okay? Ohio was part of
New York State, I guess, in the north of New York State. Yeah.
Buffalo?
Yeah, that area.
Also, I have family in Buffalo. Yeah. It doesn't fucking make sense. But I don't know, what happened to him was not okay. I don't know if I would call it a quote unquote sundown town. I do feel like there are sundown towns because we've driven through.
Oh, you don't think that was like a hardcore? Yeah. You've seen a more hardcore, scary.
Like, I feel like you can, like, when we've driven through.
Like I talked to him and let him go inside the store. You're like, a real sundown town, you
like,
don't
people
even
would
leave the
be
car.
out. Yeah, people would be out. So, like, we've driven through, like, places in, like, Tennessee where when you go to fill up your gas, you don't even fucking go in and get a drink or a piece of gum or pee.
But Carl can, because he's white.
Because he's white. Yeah.
But if they see you.
No. I'm not a pass.
So you can't go out?
No.
Okay, you guys stay in the car.
And I wouldn't want to go out. I wouldn't want to get out of my car. I wouldn't want my kids to get out of my car. And also, even just because Carl is white doesn't mean they can't be prejudiced against him.
The fact that you're...
Yeah, because he's married to because we're in a biracial relationship. But, I mean, that could have just been a racist asshole in Ohio, which is very common, unfortunately, unless you're, like, in a metropolis like Columbus or Cleveland.
Yeah, but this is the thing. 2 of your kids have blonde hair.
Yeah.
You could double take and just go, oh, she's just like really tan.
No, people.
Like, you could pass.
People literally have asked me if I'm their nanny.
Oh, okay.
So there's that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's not fun. But yeah.
All right. Well, I think this is the last stand of basically this like mentality. And I think that our society is like way too progressive. Like, even them trying to take out like Black History Month and try to take away like Asian History Month and Women's History Month. Like, we gave them those months before the government made them official. Like, they were in the social, like,
and that's kind of like we're thinking
population.
with like, we'll have to talk about DEI, and we'll also have to talk further about like the sundown town thing because of the way that guy handled it. He
stood up for himself.
He
and
stood
that was
up
the
for
way
himself,
to do it. Not like scared and running away.
Yeah. But it does get scary, right? He has military experience, so he's
so
probably
that makes
not
it different.
so scared.
Yeah, you're empowered.
Because especially you go to a state like Ohio, where it used to be a purple state. It's now a very, very red state with a couple of blue sprinkles.
Oh.
You could easily confront somebody, and they could have a.
Was it because of COVID? Did it became super red?
Do you think so? 2016.
Oh, so before COVID.
They're also pretty good at gerrymandering the shit out of it. But still, Trump is winning by quite like. If you just look at,
I wonder, is there an fight to go oligarchy stop in Ohio?
There should be, because I know there's a lot of Bernie bros who jumped the wagon and went over to Trump after that. But having military experience and having somebody approaching somebody or reacting to somebody like that, they could easily have a gun. Yeah, so that's true. You know, he feels more empowered versus like me. I would probably be like, what the fuck? But then also run away at the same time. Yeah, that's true. And I'd be like, fuck you, mama. Yeah. And drive away in my car. Yeah. But yeah, let us know. Give us a follow at Are We The Only Ones on Instagram and YouTube. Feel free to interact and let us know how you feel about this extinction burst, or if you've had any experience like in sundown towns, or if you think
do you see an uptick in racism in your communities, or do you see sort of like a pushback? I'm interested to know. Yeah, let us know. Are we the only ones? All right. Till next time. Bye.